then twice, then waits. The door opens just wide enough to reveal a woman with steel gray hair and eyes that miss nothing. "You're late," the woman says. "I was delayed," the waitress replies. The door opens fully. Inside, the room hums with quiet activity. Screens glow, phones vibrate and fall silent. Maps cover one wall. Names are written in chalk on another, some crossed out, some circled. No one looks surprised to see her. "You shouldn't have gone public," the gray-haired woman says. "I didn't," the waitress replies. "You were seen." "Yes, that's not nothing." The waitress considers that. "They won't remember me," she says. "They'll remember consequences." A man at one of the screens turns. "They're scrambling," he says. "Every tier. Nobody's giving orders because nobody knows who's allowed to." "Good," the waitress says. The gray-haired woman studies her. "You broke containment," she says. "You left a symbol." "The key?" the waitress asks. "Yes. It was necessary." "For what?" The waitress pauses. "For speed." Silence settles. Finally, the gray-haired woman exhales. "You always do this," she says. "You touch one thing, and the whole structure shakes." "It was already unstable," the waitress replies. Another screen lights up. A face appears. The boss. Live feed. He's in a room with no windows. He's sweating now, angry, afraid. "They're turning on each other," the man at the screen says. "Old alliances are collapsing." The gray-haired woman watches the feed. "They're going to look for her," she says. "They already are," someone replies. The waitress steps closer to the screen. The boss is shouting now, slamming his fist on a table. "She doesn't exist," he yells. "You hear me? She's no one." The waitress tilts her head. "That's going to be a problem," she says. The gray-haired woman looks at her sharply. "You're going to handle it?" The waitress shakes her head. "No." She reaches for a marker, walks to the wall of names. "Add one more." Not the boss's. Another name. One higher up. A name no one says lightly. The room goes very still. "That breaks protocol," someone says. The waitress caps the marker. "Protocol broke first," she replies. Outside, the city breathes. Phones ring and go unanswered. Doors close that never used to. Men who have never doubted themselves begin to hesitate. And somewhere far away, someone who has never been insulted is being told a story about a waitress. The story reaches him incomplete, distorted, dangerous. He smiles when he hears it. "Find her," he says. Back in the restaurant, the manager locks up. He notices something on the counter. A napkin, clean, folded neatly. He stares at it for a long time, unsure why his hands are shaking. Across town, the boss is escorted down a hallway. He stops suddenly. "I want a deal," he says. The man beside him doesn't slow. "There is no deal," he replies. "But the man finally turns. "She doesn't negotiate," he says. She concludes. The boss's legs give out. The hallway lights flicker. The hallway does not echo when he falls. It absorbs the sound. The lights steady themselves, indifferent. The men standing nearby do not rush to help him. They have already adjusted. That is what power does when it shifts. It teaches people where not to look. The boss is lifted without ceremony, carried forward, through doors that close behind him with soft, final clicks. No one says his name again. Across the city, the reaction spreads in patterns only a few understand. Accounts freeze. Warrants appear where there were none. Old favors expire without warning. Phones ring once and go silent forever. Men who once spoke freely begin choosing their words with care, then stop speaking altogether. Nothing explodes. Nothing dramatic happens. Things simply stop working. At dawn, a meeting room fills with people who have never sat at the same table before. They don't greet each other. They don't argue. They exchange information quickly, efficiently, like surgeons sharing a diagnosis no one wants to name. One chair remains empty. No one asks who it was meant for. In another part of the city, a man wakes up in a hotel room he doesn't remember checking into. His phone has no service. His credit cards decline. His reflection looks older than it did yesterday. By noon, he is on a plane under a different name. By nightfall, he is gone. The waitress wakes up at the same hour she always does. The alarm buzzes once. She silences it immediately. She sits up, stretches, listens. The city sounds normal. She showers, dresses, simple clothes, neutral colors, hair pulled back, no mirror lingered over, no scars to inspect. She makes coffee, drinks it standing by the window. Somewhere below, traffic moves. People rush. None of them know they slept through the end of something. Her phone buzzes. One message. Done. She deletes it without replying. On the way to work, she passes a newsstand. A headline catches her eye. A photograph of a man. Blurred. Unflattering. A caption full of speculation and words like sources say and alleged. She doesn't stop walking. At the restaurant, the manager is already there. He looks tired, relieved, older. You're early, he says. She nods. I can stay late. He hesitates. About the other night, he begins. She ties her apron. It was busy, she says. He watches her for a moment, then nods. Yes, he agrees. It was. The shift unfolds like any other. Orders, plates, complaints. A child spills a drink and looks up in terror, expecting anger. She smiles at him. It's okay, she says, kneeling. I've got it. The child relaxes instantly. Across the room, someone watches her hands. Not a customer. A man near the window, plain clothes, unassuming. He sips his coffee slowly, eyes tracking her movements without following her. When she passes his table, he speaks quietly. They're still adjusting, he says. She doesn't slow down. They will, she replies. They're asking questions. They always do. Your name came up. She stops, just long enough. No, she says. It didn't. The man smiles faintly. No, he agrees. She clears the table beside him. Efficient, professional. Will you stay? He asks. She looks at the clock. For a while. He nods, stands, leaves cash on the table. More than necessary. She doesn't look at it. By evening, the restaurant fills again. Life resumes its rhythms. Laughter, arguments, mundane chaos. In a building no one visits without permission, a file is closed. Not archived, erased. In another, a rule is rewritten without discussion. Far away, a woman with gray hair crosses a name off a wall. She pauses, then erases the chalk mark entirely. Handled, someone asks. Yes, she replies. In her. The woman considers. She's back where she belongs. Night falls. The waitress finishes her shift. She changes, steps outside. The air is cool. She walks past the bus stop this time. Keeps going. At the corner, a black car idles. The window lowers an inch. You sure? A voice asks from inside. She thinks for a moment. Not tonight, she says. The window rises. The car pulls away. She continues on foot, disappearing into the flow of people heading home, just another silhouette among thousands. Somewhere, a man tells a story about a waitress who ruined everything. No one believes him. Not fully, but they listen more carefully after. Rules change. Behavior soften. Voices lower in public places. The city doesn't know why it feels different. Only that it does. Late that night, in her apartment, she washes her hands, dries them, turns off the light. Before sleep takes her, her phone vibrates once more. Another message. Next time, she stares at it in the dark. Then she locks the screen and sets the phone face down. Her eyes close easily. Tomorrow, she'll wake up early. She always does. And somewhere, someone will make a mistake, not knowing they're standing in a place where apologies still matter, and that she has corrected worse before. Nothing happens the next morning. That's the first sign it worked. No sirens, no headphones, no urgent messages, vibrating phones awake before sunrise. The city moves like a body that has finished bleeding and doesn't yet realize it survived. She wakes before the alarm again, listens. Stillness tells her more than noise ever could. She makes coffee, drinks it slowly this time. There's no rush, no pressure humming beneath her ribs. That part is done. When she steps outside, the street smells clean, washed by a rain that fell hours earlier. A delivery truck idles at the corner. A woman argues gently with her child about a jacket. Somewhere, music plays from an open window. Ordinary. She boards a bus, takes the same seat, looks out the window. 3 stops later, a man gets on. He doesn't look at her. He doesn't need to. They ride together in silence until he stands to get off. As he passes, he speaks quietly without turning his head. They buried the story. She nods once. They always do. They're saying it was internal, he adds. Power struggle. Miscalculation. That's acceptable. The man hesitates, then continues. You're cleared. She exhales. Just a fraction. Good. The bus doors close. He's gone. At work, the restaurant is calmer than usual. Something about the air feels respectful. No raised voices. No intaítel plans. People say please without thinking about it. She notices who avoids eye contact now, who watches their hands when they speak, who lowers their voice instinctively when she passes. None of them know why. Mid-shift, a new waitress drops a tray. Glass shatters. The girl freezes, eyes wide, bracing for impact. She steps in immediately. It's okay, she says softly. I've got it. She kneels, picks up the glass with a towel this time. No blood, no spectacle. The girl whispers, thank you. She nods. Later, during a lull, the manager approaches. I put in your paperwork, he says. Promotion, if you want it. She considers. What would change, she asks. He thinks. More responsibility. More visibility. She shakes her head. No, she says. I'm fine where I am. He smiles, relieved. Good, he says. We need people like you. She doesn't respond. That evening, she takes a longer way home. Cuts through streets she hasn't walked in years. Passes buildings that don't look important unless you know what they house. At one corner, she stops. Across the street, a man stands smoking beneath a flickering streetlight. He watches her openly, doesn't hide it, doesn't pretend. She meets his gaze. He nods. She nods back. That's all it takes. At home, she opens a drawer she rarely uses. Inside, a small collection of objects rests neatly arranged. Keys, phones, cards, items without labels, each carrying a weight that has nothing to do with size. She adds one thing, a folded napkin. Clean. She closes the drawer. Her phone buzzes. Not a message this time. A call. She lets it ring once, twice, then answers. Yes, she says. A pause. She listens. No, she says. That won't be necessary. Another pause. Because it won't escalate, she continues. It never does after this. Silence on the other end. Then, understood. She hangs up. The city lights flicker outside her window, steady and alive. She sits on the edge of her bed, removes her shoes, places them side by side. The precision is unconscious. Learned long ago, somewhere far away, a man hesitates before raising his voice to a woman who can't fight back. Somewhere else, another chooses not to. Patterns shift. Slowly, invisibly, she lies down, turns off the light. In the dark, her phone vibrates one last time. No words, just a symbol she recognizes. She smiles faintly. Tomorrow, she'll wear the same uniform, serve the same tables, apologize when necessary, and somewhere, someone will mistake silence for weakness again, never realizing they've stepped into a system that noticed them the moment they raised their voice, and that she has been correcting imbalances like this long before anyone thought to look for her.